IELTS Speaking Tests, Summer 2024, Test 1. Part 1. Languages. What languages can you speak? What languages would you like to learn in the future? How are languages taught and learned in your school? Sharing. What kind of things do you like to share with others? Did you share something with someone recently? Did your parents teach you how to share when you were a child? Part 2. Describe a piece of technology that you feel is difficult to use. You should say what it is used for, how often you use it, and explain why you think it is difficult to use. Part 3. How has the development of technology affected the way we study? What changes has technology brought about in our lives? Why do technology companies keep upgrading their products? Do older people use different technology to younger people? Test 2. Part 1. Chocolate. Do you enjoy eating chocolate? Why or why not? How often do you eat chocolate? Did you eat much chocolate when you were a child? Why do you think chocolate is so popular around the world? Staying up. Do you often stay up late? What do you do late at night? How do you feel the next morning if you have stayed up late? Part 2. Describe a city you would like to stay in for a short time. You should say where it is, why you would choose to go there, what you would like to do there, and explain why you will stay there for just a short time. Part 3. Is noise pollution a problem in big cities? Do most people like going on city breaks in their free time? What problems might someone have when they visit another city? Would you like to visit a historical city? Test 3. Part 1. Pen and pencil. Do you prefer to write with a pen or a pencil? When was the last time you bought a pen or pencil? Do you think a pen or pencil would make a good present? Outer space. Have you learnt about outer space and the stars? Do you like science fiction films? Do you want to know more about outer space? Would you like to travel to another planet in the future? Part 2. Describe a person who likes to buy cheap things. You should say who this person is, what this person likes to buy, where they find these cheap items, and explain why this person likes to buy cheap things. Part 3. What are the differences between shopping in a street market and shopping in a mall? Is advertising important? Is saving money more important to older people or to younger people? Do you think spending more money on a product will ensure better quality? Test 4. Part 1. Happy things. Tell me about something that made you feel happy lately. What made you happy when you were little? Do you feel happy when you buy new things? Is it important to do a job that makes you happy? Breakfast. What do you usually eat for breakfast? How have your mornings changed since you were a child? What can people do if they don't have time to eat breakfast? Part 2. Describe a time when you taught a friend or relative something. You should say who this person was, what you taught them, what the result was, and explain how you felt about this experience. Part 3. What skills can young people teach older people? What can we do when we want to learn something new? Do you think people learn better by doing or by listening? Do people in your country like to watch instructional videos? Test 5. Part 1. Numbers. Do you have a favourite number? Why? Are you good at remembering telephone numbers? Are you good at maths? Jewellery. Do you often wear jewellery? Have you ever bought jewellery for someone else? Why do you think people wear a piece of jewellery for a long time? Part 2. Describe a person who enjoys music. You should say who this person is, how you know them, what kind of music he or she likes, and explain why this person thinks music is important. Part 3. Is it a good idea for teachers to play music in class? Are there advantages to playing music in shops? What are the effects of background music in films? Why is musical theatre so popular? Test 6. Part 1. Library. Do you often go to the library? What can people do in a library? Did you go to the library when you were a child? Is it important for schools to have a library? Exciting activities. Have you ever tried any exciting activities? What did you find exciting when you were a child? Would you like to try scuba diving or bungee jumping? Part 2. Describe a special meal that someone made for you. You should say who made it, what they cooked for you, when this happened, and explain how you felt about having this meal cooked for you. Part 3. Should students learn how to cook in school? Do you think people's eating habits change as they get older? Do people in your country like to watch cookery shows on TV? Why do some people not eat meat? Test 7. Part 1. Sports. What sports do you like to play? Did you enjoy sports lessons when you were a child? Did you know any people who are good at sports? Is it important for people to do exercise? Books. Do you prefer e-books or paper books? Will you read more online in the future? Do you think we will always have paper books? Part 2. Describe a complaint that you made. You should say when it happened, what you complained about, who you complained to, and explain what happened after you complained. Part 3. Are men or women more likely to make a complaint? What do people most commonly complain about in your country? Have you ever received poor service in a restaurant, and what did you do? Is it best to complain in writing or by speaking to someone? Test 8. Part 1. Science. Are you interested in science? When did you first learn about science? Did you like watching TV programs about science? Childhood memories. What did you enjoy doing when you were a child? What are your best childhood memories? Do you think it's better for children to grow up in a city or in the countryside? Part 2. Describe a new law you would like to introduce. You should say what the law is, what changes it would bring, whether or not the new law will be popular, and explain why you want to introduce this new law. Part 3. Is it important to have rules at school? Do people in your country always obey the law? How can parents teach children to obey rules? Are older people or younger people more likely to break the rules?